Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Gears of War 3 for the Xbox Series S. The game was originally released in 2011 for the Xbox 360. Gears of War 3 is a third-person shooter developed by Epic Games. The game is set 2 years after Gears 2, with Marcus and his squad taking refuge at sea. And in this finale to the trilogy, you and your squad make one last push to eradicate the Locust and Lambert once and for all. The game can be played solo, split screen or via various online modes. So what is the game like to play? Well, after one of the craziest and action-packed intros in gaming history, it's back to the familiar cover-based combat in a series of action-packed linear levels. The barrel running move seems to be a lot quicker than before, which really helps as the volume of enemies in Gears 3 seems to have increased. The weapons feel sharper, in particular the rifles, and overall control-wise it feels more polished. Most levels consist of sequences of skirmishes with cover and varied enemies causing different problems to deal with. The classic squad returns, led by Marcus Phoenix, accompanied by Dom, Cole and Baird. But this time you have a larger ensemble cast of Gears featuring Anya, Jace, Sam and Carmine. And there's a nice little segment featuring some cool backstory for one of the series favourites, Augustus Cole, aka Coltrane. The game world in Gears 3 is without doubt the most varied of the series so far, with wildly different locations and settings. From epic backs against the wall fights in the Cog Fortress to manning a Gatling gun on a vehicle speeding through locust infested lands. You'll be travelling to deserts, flying in barges and even venturing into the ocean for some water-based levels. But I would say it does feel a little bit disjointed at times, with the levels feeling like they're just tagged together to meet the quota of varied environments, as opposed to the organic and fluid style of Gears 1 and 2. Once again, the developers added a great range of new weapons and vehicles, from the retro Lancer with its overpowered recoil and barrel running executions as you skewer enemies on your bayonet. There are incendiary grenades, diggers, large swords for melee enthusiasts, the amazing one-shot and the devastating Vulcan chain gun. Mechs are now included with the silverbacks, letting you feel like Ripley from Aliens, with overpowered firepower, and all the new elements really help keep it feeling fresh. In terms of enemies, the Lambert are more prominent than before, with exploding enemies at every turn. Roots will emerge from the earth and you'll have to shoot out their pods, or the enemies will keep coming. You'll encounter wild tickers who eat guns and ammo, Lambert berserkers who spew out emulsion, and giant centipedes with a deadly bite. The story takes a different turn to previous games, with more emphasis on your COG squad being confronted by the results of the COG's actions on the Stranded. You really get a sense of how much devastation the Pendulum Wars and Emergence Day have caused on the general population, or the Stranded as they're referred to. You'll visit derelict cities that lay in devastation from the Hammer of Dawn strikes, which really brings home why a lot of people hate the COG and the Gears. The wars have devastated the people, caused sickness, plagues, destroyed cities, and your squad are told in no uncertain terms how the people really feel about them.
So welcome to Griffin Tower, COG. It was here before you destroyed Char and it's still standing now. And so am I. Got some nerve coming around here asking for favors, motherfuckers.
It's a nice inclusion and it adds depth to the events of the trilogy, as before it was just let's blow everything up and worry about it later. It shows the seeds of discontent that will surely come home to roost in the later installments. In terms of other modes, there is the solid versus option, including a decent variety of competitive matches. Horde mode has improved greatly from Gears 2, with up to 50 waves to play through this time. You can now place fortifications in between waves, such as razor wire or turrets, and these fortifications can be leveled up over time the more you use them. Guns and ammo can be purchased on the fly, and overall these new features really add to the enjoyment. The maps are fantastic, and with a boss every 10 waves, it makes for riveting and exhilarating experiences, whether online or offline via split screen. Finally, there's Beast Mode, which lets you play as the Locust in a timed match where you've got to kill the Stranded against the clock. The more you kill, the more time you get, and as you accumulate points you can buy better beasts. It's actually very entertaining, and it's one I wish that they'd have continued with in next games in the series. Unfortunately, this was kind of where it stopped. Graphically, the game has once more had some big visual improvements from Gears 2. The characters, the levels, enemies, everything looks smoother and sharper, and the game world also seems more lush, varied and features better details, bringing the whole experience to life. Sound-wise, it's another masterclass in epic music and bombastic effects. The voice acting is generally good with a nice cameo from Ice-T, but the standard voice acting cast do another good job of representing their adrenaline-fueled characters. Okay, what's good and what's bad? What's good? It's one of the most action-packed games I've ever played. The new weapons and enemies add a new layer to the gameplay. The story delves into the darker side of the war and how the COG's actions have impacted on civilians. The sound is faultless and visually everything has improved. Horde mode is amazing and a vast improvement on the previous version, and Beast mode was a surprisingly entertaining mode. What's bad? The levels feel a little bit disjointed, lacking the cohesion from level to level of Gears of War 2. Some of the new cast members feel like they're just making up the numbers rather than adding any value. But barring that, can't really fault it. So what's the verdict? Gears of War 3 is the most action-packed, hectic and intense game in the trilogy. It's a good conclusion to the story so far, wrapping things up nicely but also leaving a few nuggets to explore in future. But I would say it feels less tactical than the previous games, with Gears 3 being more like an all-out war scenario. I guess it suits the final act of the story, and the whole adventure felt like one long ending, with insane action set pieces at almost every turn. Despite it being more heavy on action, they still managed to include some good story elements that open your eyes to the wider picture of the war. The core Gears squad carry the majority of the narrative forward, but the inclusion of Anya balances off well to counter the macho-heavy Gears squad. It's got fantastic boss battles, good weapons, good new enemy troops that change up tactics, make you have to adapt. Perhaps it's not quite as good as the pitch-perfect Gears 2, but Gears 3 is a wonderful action game that's an immensely entertaining, exhilarating and satisfying end to the trilogy. So my score for Gears of War 3 is 9.4 out of 10. Okay, that's the review. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. But for now, this is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you.